The Kick-Off Breakfast Show.
Welcome back to the Kick-Off Sports Breakfast Show on Beach FM 106.3. And the last few weeks, we have been celebrating 25 seasons of the Hurricanes. We had 5 weeks of the forwards, amounting to 597 caps for our beloved franchise. Let's start with the best talkers on the park today with the backs. It is the Halfbacks. Let's welcome to the show number 64, who played 64 games for the Hurricanes between 99 and 2003. It is Jason Spice. G'day, Spicey.
How you going, mate? Good to hear from you.
Good to have you on, mate. How are you doing at this time?
It's been an interesting time, hasn't it? Kind of reinventing what you do during your days for 50 odd days was quite good at this side, on my side of the world. So. I'm not sure how it went for you, but I know that I lost a few kgs and probably got a bit more exercise than I normally would. So it's good to slowly get back to normal now.
Oh, you're one of those ones that new COVID, new me kind of thing.
Yeah, I went the other way. I thought I'd actually drink more and do less, but I live near the beach, so I kind of and the weather was quite good, so.
Fair enough.
Had no excuse to sort of sit there, and had a 12-year-old motivating me to do stuff. So, yeah.
Outstanding.
See how long that lasts for.
Hey, mate, let's talk your career. Let's go back. It might not have been if you continued at cricket. Read an article the other day that Daniel Vettori ended your first-class cricket career. Can you explain that?
Yeah, well, it's the fairy tale excuse, isn't it? Our best spinner in New Zealand that ended your career, but there was probably a good lineup of spin bowlers that were going to end my career pretty quickly. But I think it was just a realisation that when he turned up and we were playing, my last first class game was his first game. So
right.
The difference in quality was evident. So sometimes you got to fall on your sword, don't you? So I think he did me a favour. He made me realise that probably I need to go in a different direction.
Yeah. Well, and he did become Daniel Vettori after all. Let's talk rugby now. Matamata College, you were a proud Waikato boy before moving to the capital city. What brought you down to Wellington and the Canes?
Well, it was a chain of events, really. It was, I guess I was one of what you'd probably call thousands of kids that were trying to make it and were on the fringes and couldn't quite get there. And one of my varsity mates who had then become a lawyer happened to be Wayne Smith's family friend's neighbour and something like that. And then David White, who was the Wellington CEO that I played cricket with and against when I was young. And it was kind of a combination of all those sort of things put together, and somehow them talking to him and him talking to me, and then it was, come and have a look. So it was a little bit of desperation times back then, and eventually when I came down, it was a case of, well, you need to kind of perform pretty quickly, or it's the hard luck, back you go to the cowbell. So yeah, that's kind of a rough, short way of explaining how I got there.
Awesome stuff, mate.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you took it with both hands and become our first choice in the region. Tell us those early days of the Hurricanes with that stacked lineup that you guys had back then.
Yeah, well, it's probably, this lockdown's probably given you, or it certainly gave me a bit more of a reflection on it, actually, because there's been a few reruns on TV, which I got a phone call from my brother, ring me up and said, put the tally on. And I'm like, why? And he's like, there's a game of rugby on. And I went, well, who's playing? He goes, you are. Your son might want to watch it. So I went, okay. And it was the Crusaders, I think it was 2000, I think. Crusaders game, and I could not remember one bit of the game.
Wow.
And which is concerning.
A little bit.
Because usually I remember a few things, but what it did do, it just sort of sat back, and I think at the time you don't sort of appreciate the situation. But my son he's a bit of a rugby head, and he's Jonah, and there's Christian, there's Tana, that's Aumua, Brad Fleming. You know, and he was just going through the guys, all these guys have played for All Blacks. And I'm like, yeah, that was our team for quite a few years. And the stadium was full. So, you know, that's a bit of a rarity these days. But, it was, it's looking back, it was, you know, you think, geez, it was pretty lucky to be involved in that sort of situation. And in amongst that, then you get a lot of characters who weren't probably as household names, and then, you know, there's a lot of memories flying back after the last 20 years. That's for sure.
Awesome, mate. I want to talk about the pairing of you and the T1000, David Howell. You guys had a pretty good connection. Can you tell us about that connection between the 9 and 10?
Yeah, it was pretty robust. Plain language was used at all times. He didn't sugarcoat any messages he wanted to give to me. So, yeah, we had a pretty good understanding. I think we roomed together for about 5 years. So that was reasonably painful at times. But, I still hear from David. He's still farming up in Whangarone, and I go up there every now and then and sit on his tractor and watch him get chased by bulls, basically. Yeah.
Looking back at those years and the names that you did name, why do you think the Canes of old didn't kick on to be more dominant than what they probably should have been?
Oh, I think it's. There's a $1 million question for sure, but you know, there's a whole range of things that you could say why. I think it was just probably the mentality of how we wanted to play the game, and I don't think necessarily, while it was entertaining and exciting to play, and hard work, of course, but it probably wasn't always the best method, and I probably didn't appreciate that as much until I went overseas and played, where it was a real emphasis of 9 and 10s, and 8, 9, and 10 being your controllers of the game, and being really conservative, and you know, you're trying to build innings, if you like, and that sort of, we didn't really do that. You know, we saw opportunities and ran till we've dropped, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and when you do that, it's pretty hard to be 100% accurate. So I think that's probably, looking back, you know, if you had your time again, I would have maybe done a bit of tuition in England, dare I say it, or Wales, or wherever I was, and just learned how to control a game better and be brave enough to maybe control it a little bit more. But, you know, in saying that, no one likes to play that boring rugby. I remember I was over there for about 6 years and just going your head in how boring it was at times. But, so I wouldn't probably change it too much. I mean, you wouldn't want to have Christian Cullen out the back and not getting the ball with you. So
absolutely,
certainly a balancing act to that.
We'll pivot from the Hurricanes for the second, because I want to talk about blood, sweat, and 14 years, the infamous 2000 NPC win. Firstly, we had Norm Hewitt on the show in the second week talking to the Hookers, and he said what changed the season was a player in the first half of a game took his boots off and played the second half in his socks. But he didn't say who the player was. Can you name the player?
I'll name and shame him, because I was not playing, thankfully. I was injured. So I was sitting in the stand with Philo Tiatia. Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up, because it's about time we got named and shame. So old mate Tana must have had some new boots on and was getting sore feet. And that was up at North Harbour at Albany Stadium, I think it was. And yeah, we've just things aren't going well, of course. So we're losing, and we probably weren't supposed to be losing. Yeah. And I think it was 20 minutes to go. I looked down, and he's running around in socks. And I just remember Tia looking at me, just going, "Oh no, well, don't look." I'm like, don't say anything to the coaches. The coach is sitting 5 feet from us, and everyone's just shaking heads. What do you say?
Yeah,
I don't know if that was the main reason of how we turned things around that time, but I don't know. I don't know if we should even talk about that, to be fair.
Well,
but you'd have to ask Tani yourself. I don't think we were even allowed to talk to him about it, to be fair.
Well, one more thing about that NPC final. I did rewatch it recently. Now, I got to take you through those last 5 minutes, and I'm sure you remember them vividly. On the 40-minute mark, Canterbury knocked the ball on, and you scoop it up. Was there a split second there where you thought, it's all over now, but then the first of 5 penalties happened? Deon Wooler got sent off. You got rucked by the second 5, and in the dying moment, you and David Howell wrapped the guy up for the turnover to win the NPC championship. How long was that 5 minutes of play for you?
That was an eternity of, I guess, nerves and tension and everything that you probably play rugby for, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was a relief. It was at the end of it, of anything, because it was, we'd probably done everything to win that game comfortably. But the amount of penalties was just ongoing, and it just you were wondering when it was going to end. But it was certainly one of the better memories of my time in Wellington. But probably, on the other hand, if you want to bring up I'm not sure you've talked about that Shield game, but that actually sticks in the mind more than the win, to be fair.
Right.
Can you remember who that ref was?
I don't, sorry.
I think we're still bitter about Steve Walsh. But,
that's why I don't remember.
We won't dwell on that too much, but I think there were more penalties in that game.
Yeah, he loved his whistle, that's for sure. Hey, mate, you are part of a very, very elite group. My mate Scooter is part of a group, but it's a little bit bigger to wear the jersey and play one game for the ABs. How many players have put the jersey on and not actually got onto the field?
I don't actually know. I can tell you, though, that has been the biggest curse that has happened to me. I'm a school teacher now. And the amount of comments about bench warming or weren't good enough to make it or well done, bench warmer. Those comments are still going. How many years now are we now? 20 years ago. So, it hasn't been, while it was a nice memory at the time, it's come back and bite me on the arse. So,
I'm sorry to bring it up then.
Yeah, I'd almost rather it not have happened. Almost.
Almost.
Yeah, so it's amazing what Google can do these days for kids. There's no information they can't find.
Indeed. Hey, mate, lastly, I appreciate you telling these stories, but lastly, let's go back to the Canes. What did that time in the Hurricanes jersey mean for you, being part of the region?
Oh, look, at the time it was, and still is, my best memory of rugby. It was very much, it was like the extended family. You often try not to think about it too much because it's probably the best time of your life, really. Playing rugby for your job was most rugby playing kids' dream. So, look, if I could have my time again, I'd take the steroids and get back into it, Of course, I never took steroids. Look, it was the best time that I can remember in rugby, and not so much the actual playing, it's just that camaraderie, the mates that you get, and we before this talking about those young guys like Thomas Waldrom. He's not so young anymore, but guys like that you may not have. There was quite an age gap, but you become good mates with them, and then you go away from the Hurricanes, and then we ended up meeting up playing for Leicester for a few weeks before I retired or gave up, or whatever you call it. Yeah, so you get things like that, and so your memory and your friendships become even more special, I suppose. But when you catch up on the other side of the world, and it's always, and I say to the young rugby players that I teach at school, and that it's like you always want to be remembered as, hopefully, that when you're walking down the street, that your old mate that used to play rugby will walk across the road to say good day to you. So, and hopefully, I'd like to think that most of my teammates would do that. And there's a lot of guys that I'd love to see again, and hopefully sometime soon that old mate David Howell might actually get on a plane and we'll go down to Wellington and catch up with a few of the guys. That would be nice.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Go well, my friend. Look after yourself and enjoy that teaching. I know how you halfbacks love to yell at groups.
Yep, nothing different with school kids, mate. So, they're about as smart as forwards as well. So,
Well, mate, I appreciate
that
your
shot
time.
in. All good, Damian. Good to hear from you, mate.